Welcome in. We're live. Welcome to a new show from the Keg called This Week With. It'll be on the Sports Keg YouTube network every week like everything else we do. Joined by new Keg team member Joey Work. And tonight's guest, man, as a born and raised kid from New Jersey myself, I could not think of anybody better for us to have on this show than New Jersey native, former UFC lightweight champion Frankie Edgar. How are you, Frankie?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you guys for having me.
We really appreciate you taking a couple of minutes out of your day to talk with us, man.
You got it. My pleasure.
All right, Joey, what's going on, bro?
Good, man. How are you? I'm really happy to be a part of the Sports Keg and run Pure Sports team, and even happier I got my favorite UFC fighter to join us,
Awesome.
All right, so before we get to your upcoming fight against Pedro Munhoz on Fight Island, get your thoughts on the UFC main card tomorrow. I have to ask you a few questions about the fights that put you on the map, stamp your UFC legacy. Joey and I could talk to you for probably 3 hours on the Gray Maynard trilogy alone. Obviously, we don't have that much time. Everybody with a brain knows that you took 2 out of 3. There was no chance you fought to a draw at UFC 125 after the first round. Right? Okay, we know that, right? All right, but between your first and your second fight with Gray, you let the world know who you were. You beat BJ Penn for the UFC title at 112. You beat BJ in the rematch at UFC 118, defend the title again. So my question is, you were such a fan favorite going into that third matchup with Gray Maynard at UFC 136 that, like, at that point, there was nobody more loved in the history of the lightweight division at that moment than you were. So going into your third fight with Maynard, realizing that you're on the top of the sport, what was going through your head going into UFC 136? I know it was a long time ago, but I told myself, if I ever talk to Frankie Edgar, that's the question you ask him. It's a no-brainer. So,
yeah, I just wanted to make sure I put an emphatic win against Gray for that third one. The second one, when a draw is like kissing your sister, bittersweet. And it looked like it was going to be kind of go the same way. Obviously, get rocked in that first round of that third one again, but I was able to come back a little bit quicker and able to put him away. So that one definitely stands out for me as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
We all know you're great in this sport, future Hall of Famer. So I'm wondering, what was the feeling in 2010, the first time in Abu Dhabi? I know you're going back there, first time putting that UFC championship around your belt, around your waist. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. I've been competing in sports, since a kid in wrestling since I was 13. I mean, I always came close to my goals, but never really got to realize them. So that night in Abu Dhabi, 2010, I was finally able to realize, my goal of being a world champion. So that's something that will, stay with me forever. And I'm excited to go back, in Abu Dhabi, get some of those memories back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. We know you found the ultimate success at 155. You found success at 145. Now you take the step to bantamweight. You fight a tough guy in Pedro Munhoz next month on Fight Island. We know that, Munhoz is coming off the loss to Aljo, but he has split his last 2 fights against solid bantamweights. He manages to knock out Cody Garbrandt before he loses to Aljo. And one thing that will always be said about your career is you take the hardest possible fight you can against the very best the sport has to offer every single time you fight. So you come in off fighting 2 monsters in Zombie and Max Holloway. So my question is, what are your thoughts on the fight next month with Munhoz? What are your thoughts about Fight Island? And do you need to do anything differently as far as the weight cut's concerned now that you're at 135?
Yeah, I'm excited to go out and Fight Island. Like I said, it's a little bit of nostalgia, going back to Abu Dhabi. Crazy times right now, so crazy measures got to happen. And, we're flying 4 different cards out to Abu Dhabi. So I'm glad I could be a part of it. It's kind of history to me. I can say I fought during a pandemic. I don't know how people can say that. And, I'm fighting in front of the whole no crowd, all that stuff. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And Pedro Munhoz is the guys I want to fight. These guys are the best guys. He's a top 10 guy, and You know, I've been doing that pretty much since day one of my career, and I didn't want to change any of that. And
Yeah, 100%.
Do all that stuff. So it's going to be a good matchup.
All right, so Frank, I'm a professional sports bettor, all right, man. Everybody that watches this show loves the UFC, bets on sports. So I just wanted, before I get you out of here, want to do a quick rundown on your thoughts on the main card tomorrow night, get your insight, and then we'll get you out of here on that. Is that cool?
Absolutely, man.
All right, so first fight, Jim Miller fights Roosevelt Roberts. I'll always love Jim Miller just because I'll like the same way I'll always love you, man. Another Jersey guy like all of us. I know that Jim has fought for a long time. You know, he might have a little left in the gas tank. Do you think a younger Roosevelt Roberts is too tough a task for Jim Miller at this point in his career? How do you see the fight playing out?
You know, I don't know much about Roberts, but I do know plenty about Jim. We fought way back in the day before we both got in the UFC, and I trained with him, you know, numerous times throughout the years. And he's a guy that makes me say, makes me proud to be from New Jersey. You know, he's a workhorse. He's about to make his 35th walk, and I'll never write that dude out. And I hear, you know, he actually suffers from Lyme's disease.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
You know, for the later part of his career, and I hear he's finally getting some relief, I think, you know, or at least find some avenues to kind of deal with it. So I'm excited to see how he looks.
Awesome. All right, so the next fight is Belal Muhammad versus Lymangood. Belal has looked quite impressive recently. He's 6-1 since 2017, mainly leaning on his wrestling and submission game. Lymangood, who fights out of Tiger Showman's in New York, you probably know, more of explosive in his stand-up and kickboxing. So wondering what you thought about this one.
Yeah, I'll go with Muhammad Belal. You know, I think he just has power in his hands too. He can mix it up on his feet, but his wrestling is the difference. You know, Lymangood is going to be in condition. Those TSK guys are always in shape, always pretty well rounded. But I just think Muhammad will be able to, you know, push the pace on him and get secure takedowns and possibly with a knockout.
Yes. All right. Next fight, women's bantamweight fight. Rocky, Pennington, Marion, Reneau. You know, it's a tough fight for me because I have a hard time trusting either of these women to implement a game plan from start to finish. But I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Rocky Pennington. I'll be rooting for her tomorrow for sure. So who you got in this one? Who you think gets it done?
Yeah, it's always tough, you know, when it's toss-up fights. But I think Rocky's got the power in her hands. You know, I think she hits hard for a woman. More so than most of them, you know, she kind of got some pop in those hands. So I can see her, you know, rocking this girl, possibly, you know, putting her away. It's tough for the girls to put each other away at times, but, you know, I think she got the power.
Yeah. All right, so the next one is a co-main event, which is Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos. I fully expect these two guys to stand and bang. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them's awarded fight. It's either fight of the night or a performance bonus here. Josh Emmett has looked impressive recently in stops of Beckett and Michael Johnson. Now Shane Burgos, another guy from Tiger Showman's in New York. He's impressive 6-1 in his UFC career. He's only lost to Calvin Kattar. So what do you think about this one?
Yeah, these guys are both studs. You know, they're in the 45. I was in that division for quite a while. So I actually trained with Shane in the past before too. Very, very well-rounded fighter. I think his last fight was a submission too. I think it's going to be tough to take him to take Josh Emmett down. So I definitely see this being a stand-up fight. Emmett, I think, might have the power in his hands, but I feel like Shane is a little more diversified in his skill set. So, you know, it's I'll say Shane, but, you know, Josh could definitely put it away with a big shot.
Yeah, Emmett's got that crazy power, man, for sure. Main event tomorrow night, Curtis Blaydes, Alexander Volkov. In fairness to Alexander Volkov, he's been really impressive since 2016. I don't think he's lost a fight since then, aside from the Derek Lewis fight. And anybody that watched that fight knows that Volkov won every second of that fight until he was caught the last 10 seconds when Lewis got him. So in that span, Volkov beats Verdum, a former champ. He handles amateur in Greg Hardy, a scary dude, but not a professional mixed martial artist like you guys are. So with all that said, I don't know. I still think Curtis Blaydes, it's his fight to lose because Volkov has a hard time against wrestlers, and I think Blaydes is the wrestler in the heavyweight division right now. We know that Blaydes has a great gas tank like wrestlers tend to have. So I think he can end the fight on the ground or the feet. Who do you think gets it done in the main event tomorrow night, Frankie?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm going to go Blaydes. I don't know if you've seen it. I think he put a tweet or a post out that he's like, if you guys are expecting 25-minute banger, you might want to not want to watch a different. I mean, hey, you got all these tools. Don't leave the bazooka in the trunk. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to go out there, and sometimes the path of least resistance is the way to go. So, Volkov is, you can definitely catch him coming in. But Blaydes got power in his hand. I do think he'll get a takedown, see some nasty elbows.
Yep. So before we get you out of here, talk to us a little about your podcast. I know I watched a couple episodes. Frankie Perez put me onto it. Definitely interesting watch, listen. Where can everybody find it? And tell us a little about it.
Yeah, it's Champ and the Tramp. We're on everywhere podcasts are available. Apple, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. It's me and my co-host is Roger Matthews from Jersey Shore fame. He's a Tom's River guy. I met him probably about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and we've been kicking ever since. And we just talk some shit and have fun. We talk fights. We talk being parents. We talk politics sometimes. Kind of hard not to nowadays. But it's real informal, real, a bunch of dudes that really don't know much talking shit,
Love
there
it.
you go, man. That's what people in New Jersey do.
Yeah. Better than most.
Yeah, 100%. That beer game, by the way, was strong, bro. What happened?
Yeah, I had
It's
like
gone?
summertime's not for the beer, but it'll make a comeback.
Yeah, listen, man, we really cannot thank you enough for spending 10 minutes with us. Us New Jersey guys, you've been a hero to us, man, for 15 years. And I'll have a couple dimes on you, bro, against Pedro Munhoz to get the job. So I can't thank you enough, really. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with us, man.
You got it. My
appreciate
pleasure,
it, buddy.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you for repping Jersey, man. All right.
Hell yeah.
Take care and talk
All right.
to you soon.
See you
Later. So there you go. So let's start here. Frankie Edgar agreed with me on something. And you know what? If I could die tomorrow and I'm good now. I'm good.
It's easy as that, huh? It's as easy as that.
Bro. Unbelievable. Guys in the chat, we'll stay on for a couple minutes. Welcome in. Fail That Life, Pink Eye Genie, Connor Butler, JJ in the house, Spread, all the boys, Boston Nick, all the guys from the keg are on. Man, that was pretty fucking cool, man. How about that?
How about that is right. So everyone hit that like button, subscribe. We're going to be bringing the fighters in here, trying to bring them in as much as we can. Friday nights, me and Jay just kicking it, talking to the fighters. So hit that like button for sure.
Yeah, so everybody knows, obviously, we'll be on tomorrow at 4:30 for the Fight Cast on the Sports Keg channel. Start at 4:30. JJ will join us for the main card. Joey will come on for an hour for the main card and kick it with us. Obviously, all our normal guys will be on with us. And then Sunday, we will be on for the NASCAR race at Talladega. We'll be live betting that card all night long. Should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So overall thoughts on the UFC card tomorrow. Listen, now don't get me wrong. I thought last week was going to be a shit show, okay? And we ran the table. We didn't lose a bet. We would have went 9-0 had we bet everything. We went 3-0 or 3-0 on official plays. We picked up some units. Everything went really well. This card, though, from an entertainment standpoint, you would have to think this is a much better card than last week.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I mean, even though last week, people had their doubts about last week turned out it was pretty good, So, it's hard to count out any UFC fights because you never know what's going to happen. But I'm definitely looking forward to this card, main events, everything, It's definitely got my interest.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking a little bit about the main card with Frankie Edgar. Just saying that will never fucking get old ever. So we were doing that. Joey and I were talking about the main event beforehand. Man, listen, I went back and I watched some tape on Alexander Volkov. He really has been pretty impressive since 2016. And right or wrong. And
Absolutely.
Anybody that watched that Derek Lewis fight, I mean, listen, I had an Alexander Volkov bet, and I was counting my money, bro. I said, okay, we won every minute of every single fight, of every minute of every round in that fight, right? The last 12 seconds, Derek Lewis decides he's going to be a fighter and knocks him out. Cold, dead cold, done, loss, right? Now, aside from that, he did beat Verdum in 2017 or 16, and that was a pretty good version of Verdum, not the version that we saw recently. But how does he's not that good against wrestlers. That's my issue with him. And Curtis Blaydes is the predominant wrestler in the heavyweight division, and I really do think it's his fight to lose. I don't love the price. Don't get me wrong. Am I running to the window to lay 380 or 400? Not exactly, but I will find a way to be on Curtis Blaydes tomorrow. 100%. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I agree. I think the only way to touch it is Curtis Blaydes within the distance. I'm not laying the minus 400, 380, whatever it is, but it might be a parlay piece possibly at minus 200 at within the distance, but I think, as Frankie said, I saw it as well on Twitter that Curtis sent out a tweet saying, hey, guys, if you expect me to stand there and bang with them and be like, there's no fans, number one, so there's no booing, so they're not going to get upset. So he's going to do what he wants to do to win the fight. And that's what it should be. That's what that's a smart UFC fighter's fight, and that's what he should be. So I fully expect him to take it to the ground and probably get a ground and pound win in second or third round.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement. Wow, he's up to minus 435, man.
Yeah, he's getting hammered. He's been getting hammered.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? As good as I think he is, and as big as of an advantage I think that he has in this fight, there is no way you can justify laying 435 tomorrow.
No, absolutely
no
not.
way.
Absolutely not. At that price, the only thing you take is Volkov and close your eyes.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. All right. So the co-main event is the Burgos-Emmett fight, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, here's my thoughts on this fight. My thoughts are Shane Burgos is an impressive kid. Okay. I think that he was impressive over Cub Swanson. And, Kurt Hellebuyck, that's nothing to write home about, right? And he did lose to Calvin Kattar, but let's be honest, Calvin Kattar is in the elite of that division, and I don't hold that loss against Shane Burgos at all. With all that said, if you're giving me dog money on somebody that hits like Josh Emmett when the fight is somewhat close, you can make the argument that this fight should be a pick on both sides, split down the middle. But if you're going to give me a dog price on a guy that hits like that and is that good in the pocket, I think I can only look one way, Joe. I think I can only look towards Josh Emmett.
Yeah, I agree with the line. It should definitely be more even line here. So Josh Emmett, if you watch the Jeremy Stevens fight, he knocked him down in the first. And if he actually got on top of him and ground and pound him, he probably could have won that fight and been done with. He went to the second. Stevens eventually got up, they went to the second, and Stevens knocked him out. So if he doesn't lose that fight, he hasn't lost since 2017. He's on a 6-fight win streak. He's probably in a better position than he is right now, either or. But my pick on here is to not go distance because I think these guys are going to stand and bang. I really don't think it goes.
What are you getting? What are you getting on that?
So,
what are your odds on that?
I know the under is just not go distance. I got so under 2.5 is minus 130. So it's got to be even better than that. It's probably almost even money.
Well, I'll tell you this much:
minus 110.
There's a hell of a better chance this fight doesn't see the cards than it does.
Yeah,
based on those two guys.
Yeah, absolutely. These two are going to stand and bang, and I fully expect someone to get knocked out. yeah, like I said before, either fight of the night or somebody getting a performance bonus for knockout of the night.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about the Rocky Pennington Marion Reneau fight. Full transparency, I will spend tape with the remaining fights that I have to, and I'll sleep 4 hours before our show tomorrow. But going into the tape study that I will eventually do on this fight, I don't know if it's just the fact that I have a really soft spot for Rocky Pennington. I just always root for her to do well in the UFC. But, I mean, man, like Marion Reneau couldn't even get past Yana Kunitskaya. And you could make the argument that Rocky Pennington beat Holly Holm in that fight. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Marion's also 42 years old. So, I mean, I don't know how much she's got left in the tank.
Yeah. Going into the tape study, I lean Rocky Pennington. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, it's either Rocky or pass for me. I'm not even going any deeper into that. That's where it is for me, and I'm probably just going to be pass for me on this one because I'm afraid I'm afraid that say Tisha Torres loses. Like, what is that going to affect Rocky's head? Like, I don't know that answer, so I don't like. I guess we'll see where it is at that point.
Yeah, Tisha, that's a fair.
Tisha wins, that might boost her up a little bit. If she loses, it might be the opposite. So I might just wait and play that live with you guys.
All right, so the Muhammad Lymangood fight, I have to watch tape study. Would you, I'll have a better answer for everybody tomorrow. What do you think about that fight?
Yeah, I think. I kept going back and forth on this one. I do think Muhammad's going to try to get to the ground as he's tried in the last 4 fights. He just keeps trying to get it to the ground and eventually gets it to the ground and grounds and pounds or stays on top of someone to win a decision. And I think that's his only really – I mean, I guess I know Frankie said he thinks he can knock him out. I don't think he can knock Lymangood out here. Lymangood's just a bigger man, more powerful, and I don't think he wants to stand and bang with Lyman. So he's going to try to take him to the ground and then hopefully get a finish there or a sub there. But this one might go to decision, either or. But I keep going back and forth. Haven't made an official pick on this one, but I do lean Bilal Muhammad.
Okay, Jim Miller, Roosevelt Roberts. Man, it's really. I think if we're being honest with ourselves, I think Jim Miller's got a solid round that he has an okay chance to win this fight. I think after the first round, I'm leaning that it probably dramatically turns in Roberts' favor. That being said, I have not bet anything on this fight at all. I mean, Jim Miller's plus 185, and the last time I think you were able to get Jim Miller at a nice price, he stuck it in everybody's ass, man, and won that fight. So, I mean, what do you think? You think Miller's live past the first round?
I think the only way Miller wins is by sub. So if you want to get crazy and add the by sub, I'm not exactly sure the odds on that, but it's probably nice and juicy. But it's either I'm probably going to add Roosevelt Roberts as a parlay piece. I just think Jim Miller. This could potentially be his last fight. Who knows though? He is a warrior and he's another Jersey guy. Hate to pick against him, but I'm on Roosevelt here.
All right, so the T-shirt. We're not going to hit every preliminary card fight, but I just want to touch on 2 before we go. The first one is Tisha Torres plus 180 against Brianna Van Buren. I'm going to watch a lot of tape tonight on Van Buren, but are we going to sit here and say that Tisha Torres isn't live at plus 180?
She's got to be.
Come on, bro.
She has to be.
80?
She has to be. This is Brianna's this is Brianna's hardest task to date. No question about it, And Tisha is probably a better wrestler than her, possibly take her to the ground. And she's fought, the last 4 fights she fought Marina Rodriguez, Wei Zhang, Joanna, and Jess Andrade. She lost all of them, but that's like, that's why she's a plus dog. She fought some badasses here, and we're bringing in Brianna Van Buren, who has one win in the UFC. I mean, I understand she was a former Invicta champion, but to make her the heavy favorite, this line is definitely not right.
I mean, I'm thinking to myself, if I'm setting a fair line, right, I'm making Tisha Torres probably plus 120.
Yeah.
How is she plus 180?
It's got to be they just got to be based on recent performance. That's what it has to be. Like, she lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, I'm going to watch. I know you'll be watching some fights tonight. I'm going to watch some fight tape tonight. The other fight is, and listen, Joe, I know that Dana White, but I got to tell you, bro, it's a really fucking bad look for the UFC to let a guy that's got 54 pro fights under his belt, okay, probably has CTE, for you to tell Clay Guida, okay, you can go fight tomorrow after you just saw how he struggled with BJ Penn, who's even more shot than he is. I mean, at a certain point, it's not healthy anymore. And you just have to take the gloves away from the guy if he won't take them away himself. I mean, how is Bobby Green not the clearest cut pick on the entire card, for the simple fact that one guy is a professional in the UFC and the other guy's 6 hits away from a mental institution, like a daycare center for grown-ups. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. What are we even talking about here? Yeah,
it's definitely Bobby Green for me. I mean, I saw at the weigh-ins, they're both talking shit to each other. Bobby wouldn't shake his hand. Clay said, "Nice of you to show up, pansy," or something. He made fun of him. That was his opening line, and then they were barking back and forth to each other. But yeah, Clay is definitely past his prime. His last win was versus BJ Penn, and we know he's way past the prime. So I don't think this is really up to Dana White. I think Clay probably contacted him 100 times, said, "Hey man, I got 28 fights in the UFC. Give me another one. I want another one. This will be what is Dana going to say? At the end of the day, okay, yeah, I'll pay you $100K to go out and fight. Right. I'm making money off this guy. People know him.
The argument I guess you would make is Clay Guida for a long time put it on the mat and bled on that UFC canvas. So you almost feel Dana White's obligated to let this guy fight. But man, I'll tell you, I'm gonna fade him, but I'm not gonna feel good about it. I'll tell you that. I'm not gonna feel good about it.
Yeah. Even last time out, it was him.
No, don't even laugh. Don't even laugh. Yeah. Don't even laugh, because we shouldn't laugh. We shouldn't laugh. All right. So listen, we're gonna try to do this with Joey and his fucking treasure chest of friends that fight in the UFC every week. Joe he's a part of the Keg now. You're going to see him on other shows. He'll be part of the Run Pure Sports crew over with us at Run Pure Bets. And we will be on tomorrow, 4:30 for the Fightcast, and Sunday, obviously, for the race at Talladega. Joe, I'm happy you're a part of the team, bro. Excited to have you here. Good things are going to happen, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Really excited myself to be a part of Sports Keg and Run Pure Sports.
There it is, boys. We'll see you tomorrow, 4:30. Later.